Hi everyone, I am Mahesh. In this video, I am going to show you how to find the factorial of a given number. First of all, let's understand what factorial is. Say for example, if we wanted to find factorial of n, how do we find the n factorial? N into n minus 1 into n minus 2 and so on till the number becomes 1. So the product of all these numbers gives us the factorial of n. For example, if we wanted to find the factorial of 4, then 4 into 4 minus 1 is 3 into 4 minus 2 is 2. Then we will have n minus 3, 4 minus 3 is 1. That's all. We reached 1. So we will stop there. And the value is 4 into 3 is 12. 12 into 2 is 24. 24 into 1 is 24. So the factorial of 4 is 24. This is how we need to calculate the factorial of a given number. Now let us write a Java program for the same. Let me create a new Java class. We'll name it as factorial number. And let's declare a number like n, for which we wanted to find the factorial. Then we'll have another variable to store the factorial value. So fact is my variable, which I am declaring it as long, because like if my n value is big, then the product will be huge. So I'm declaring fact as long, and we'll have a default value as like 1, and then we'll write a small loop. We'll come back to this condition later, but what we wanted to do here to find the factorial, first of all, we already have one variable fact into n. Each time n has to be reduced by 1. So for that, what we'll do is we'll use decrement operator n minus minus. So n minus minus meaning n equal to n minus 1. And now what happens for the first time when the loop, say for example, for now, let's say the condition is true. Then fact equal to fact is 1. 1 into n is 4. So 1 into 4, it will actually calculate 1 into 4. So fact is 4 now for the first time. Then what happens? Then it again comes back to the loop. Say for example, this time also condition is true. N is decremented by 1. So this time n is 3. So and fact value is 4. 4 into 3. Then again goes back to the loop. Then it prints 2. And then finally it should stop at 1 into 1. So when n value is 1, we'll stop the loop. That is our condition. Still till n is less than or equal to 1, or till n is greater than 0. We can have either n greater than or equal to 1 or n greater than 0. Both are same. Then we'll actually break the loop and we'll have the factorial of a given number in the variable called fact. This is how we can find the factorial of a given number. Factorial number or factorial value is, we'll have that in variable fact. Now let us execute this and verify. And we can clearly see here factorial value is 24. So we can also verify it for 5 if you want. So factorial value for 5 is 120. So this is how we can calculate the factorial of a given number n. And this is one way of finding it using a loop. There is another way how we can find the factorial of a number using recursion. So for that, let's understand what recursion is first. Say for example, we are given like we are told a room number 105 in which there is a treasure, and or a valuable gift is present in room number 105. Then what do? We actually come near this room to pick up the treasure. Then to our surprise, there is a lock to this room. The room is locked and there is hint on the lock saying that the key of this 105 room number is present in a room number called 104. Then we'll find where room number 104 is. We'll go to that room, and to our surprise again, even 104 room is locked again, and there is a hint on the 104 room number lock saying that the key of this 104 room number is in 103 room number 103. And again we'll come here near this room number 103. Again on this lock of this 103 room number, there is a hint saying that the lock of this room number is present in room number 102. And again, like we come to this room number 102, and also on we'll again see the same message, like on the lock it will be said like the key of 102 room number is in 101. Again we'll come back to this, like again we'll go to the room number 101, and here this room is not locked, and so as this room is not locked, we'll find a key here, key of room number 102. So what we'll do, we'll pick up the key and open the room number 102 just to pick up the key of room 103. So as we have key of 103 now we'll come near room number 103 and open the room 103 and pick up room key of room number 104. Now finally we'll actually open the room number 104 so that we'll actually get the key of room number 105, which is what we wanted. So we'll take this key and open the room number 105, and we'll take the treasure. So what did we do? Even though we wanted to open 105, actually we went on like till where we can actually find the key for each number, and finally we got we opened the room, we opened the key of the room number which we needed. So this is how, in the same way, like recursion works. Now let us see how it works. Say for example, we wanted to find the factorial of a given number using recursion. So in the same way, like what's the meaning of 5 factorial? It's 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Now if you observe, we wanted to find the factorial of 5. So how can we do that is 5 into 4 factorial. So we know that 4 into 3 into 2 into 1 is 4 factorial. So if we can find the 4 factorial, we can just multiply 5 with it so that we'll get the 5 factorial. And again, how to get the 4 factorial? 5 into 4 factorial is 4 multiplied by 3 factorial, if you observe here. So if we know 3 factorial, we can just multiply 4 with it so that we'll get the 4 factorial. Again, how to get the 3 factorial? It is like, if we know 2 factorial, we can just multiply it with 3 so that we'll get the 3 factorial, and so on till 1, till we get the number as 1. So 3 into 2 factorial is 2 into 1 factorial, and we know that 1 factorial is 1. Now we can stop it, like 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. And if we calculate this, finally we will get the value as 5 into 4, 20, 23 are 60, 62 is 120, 120 into 1, 120. Finally we'll get the result of the 5 factorial. So if you observe here, to actually find the 5 factorial, we started with finding the 4 factorial, and then once we get the result of 4 factorial, we can just multiply it with 5. Again, if you observe, how are we finding the 4 factorial? We'll first find the 3 factorial and then we'll multiply it with 4 and so on till it becomes like 1. The number becomes 1. Then we'll stop it, and in reverse we'll calculate the product of all the numbers, and finally we'll get the result of the factorial of the given number. This is how recursion works, and this is how we are now going to write a recursion factorial of a given number using recursion. For this, what we'll do now is we'll just write, let me comment this out. This is the first approach using the loops. And now we are going to write a different approach using recursion, factorial of n. For this, what we'll do is we'll create a method. We'll create a small method here which will run it recursively, just now, and which returns long. So it actually returns the factorial of n. And for that, what to be written? How to actually calculate the factorial? N into factorial of n minus 1. This is what we saw just now. So if you observe here, we wanted to, if we wanted to find 5 factorial, what are we doing here? 5 into 4 factorial. So in the same way, I wanted to find n factorial. So we should be writing n into factorial of n minus 1. So this is what we call it as recursion. Within the same method, we are calling the method again. In turn, like this again calls the same method. Again, what happens? Then the method will be called with n minus 1. The same method will be called each time. And we need some condition here when it should actually break. So for that, what we can do is this has to be happen till n becomes 0. When n becomes 0, what we can do here is we can just say, we can just return 1. As factorial of 0 is 1, we will just return 1, and then the product will be calculated in in reverse order. That we'll see now. Now let us execute this. You can see here factorial value is 120. 5 factorial is 120. And now let us actually see how it works. So if you observe, n here is 5. 5 into factorial of n minus 1, that is f of, I'll just name it I'll just call it as f of, instead of factorial, f of 4. And then f of 4. So what should happen? Again, this method will be called, and as this time n is 4, is 4 equal to 0? No, condition is false. So it will come to this statement. It will return this time 4 into factorial of 3. Again, the same function will be called with n value as 3. This condition will be false. Then what happens? F of 3 will be calculated. Like factorial of 3 is return 3 into f of n minus 1 is f of 2. Then again, the method is called for factorial 2. To calculate factorial 2, again it will be 2 into factorial of 1. What is factorial 1? So again the condition will be referred. 1 is equal to 0? No. And again for this it will return 1 into factorial of 0. And this time n factorial method is called for n value as 0. And this time this condition becomes true and it returns 1. So it will not come to this statement. It will directly return 1 here itself in the if condition. So it enters into the if condition is true. So it enters into the if loop and returns 1 here. So the value of factorial 0 is 1. So it returns 1, and 1 into 1 is 1. So factorial 1 is 1. 2 into 1 is 2. Factorial 2 is 2. 3 into 2 is 6. So factorial 3 is written as 6. 4 into 6 is 24. So factorial 24 is written as factorial 4 is written as 24. And finally 5 into 24 is, you can see it here, 5 into 24 is 120. And this is what the factorial of 5 is. Finally this will be written, and this gets the value of factorial 5. And that's how it worked. That's how it actually displayed the factorial of 5. And this is how recursion works. And in this video we saw finding the factorial of a given number using the first approach using loops and second approach using recursion method. That's all for this video. Thanks for watching.